So now we're here, maybe to give you the platform to apologize to the First Lady for your statements that you made about her possible connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
That's not going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day of presidential litigation has arrived. It's lawsuit time. In my hand is a legal demand letter addressed to Mr. Hunter Biden from the First Lady of the United States, demanding a retraction of Channel 5's video called Hunter Biden Returns, in which Mr. Biden here makes some speculative comments about the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein, Melania Trump, and Donald Trump. He didn't make these claims out of nowhere. They come from another journalist named Michael Wolff, who is a biographer that actually spoke to Jeffrey Epstein. But now here we are. And I've got $1 billion document in my hands because Mrs. Trump is seeking $1 billion in damages if we don't take the video down. And if Hunter here doesn't issue a formal apology to Mrs. Trump.
Now, First Lady Melania Trump is set to put Hunter Biden on a $1 billion notice over comments that he made during an interview on Channel 5 with Andrew Callaghan. Now, Melania Trump claims that the son of the former US President Joe Biden made false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements about her, and she's demanded that the content be removed immediately, and it's also called for him to issue an apology or face legal action. Wow, I was not expecting a legal fight between Melania Trump and Hunter Biden in 2025. What did you make of this?
Melania Trump does not play around, and God bless her for it. I think, Hunter Biden, if he keeps this up, he continues to spread lies about this First Lady, he's going to have to make some more of those $300 million paintings. But I have a feeling that they probably won't sell for as much now that Joe Biden is not in office. But here's the deal. I think, again, conservatives need to fight back. When the lamestream media continues to lie about us, when liberal folks like Hunter Biden continue to lie about us, let them know that it's time to F around and find out. And I think that's what Melania Trump is doing exactly.
Now, a Democratic whistleblower told the FBI that Adam Schiff approved leaking classified information in order to discredit President Donald Trump, according to newly released documents. Now, the documents, which are obtained by Just the News, were recently handed over to Congress by FBI Director Kash Patel, and according to the report, the intelligence staffer called the leaking treasonous and illegal. CJ, what more can you tell us about this?
I think what we need to do is take a hard look at this. And I think the DOJ under this president will do exactly that. You know, under the previous administration, we saw a weaponization of justice unlike anything we have ever seen before. But as we continue to uncover, as Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and many other in the FBI continue to look for, is corruption unlike anything that the American people could ever imagine. And so I think that these people need to be held accountable. Investigations need to ensue. And I hope that, you know, justice will be as fair, as aggressive as it was under the previous administration. And if it is, I think folks like Adam Schiff will be held to account, and rightfully so.
Now, there are reports that the Trump administration and Harvard University are close to reaching a settlement of $500 million. According to the New York Times, White House negotiators have made significant progress in their discussions with the university. Now, CJ, this, of course, comes after the Trump administration froze more than $2 billion in funding to Harvard and threatened to revoke its tax-exempt status due to Harvard and other universities' failure to address anti-Semitism.
You know, I think, you know, we say this thing in Gen Z, it's make their pockets hurt. I think this president has certainly learned how to do just that. And I think that's the only way these institutions are going to learn with their incredible billion-dollar endowment funds, right? And so I think there is no place for anti-Semitism in this country. There's no place for anti-Semitism on our college campuses. But also, too, let's go back to just a few years ago. These college campuses are not just breeding grounds for anti-Semitism, but they're breeding grounds for anti-Americanism, anti-Western civilization. And so I think it's long past these universities learn their lesson. And I love to see a president fighting so hard to bring that lesson out.
Finally, I've got to talk about Sydney Sweeney again. It's the story or the advertisement, I guess, that just keeps going. It never ends. But a new Economist YouGov poll found that up to 12% of Americans found Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad campaign offensive. You know, we have played some of the reactions and the insane reactions from lefties crying about it on TikTok. We played that here in our show a couple of weeks ago. But CJ, 12%. I mean, who are these people that find Sydney Sweeney, her hot, sexy ad, offensive? Surely we could all be celebrating that hotness is back.
Gabrielle, all I have to say is I want you to imagine what those 12% of people look like. And I think we can go from there.
It's a fair point. CJ Pearson, it is great to speak with you. Thanks so much for joining us on Power Hour.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.